We are leaving Bordeaux, and this is a song on fire. That summer haze, how I missed the thought of it in a drunken blaze. Catatonic states, dancing in the rain, listening to old records made, turning off for a while, disappearing with a smile. Set the world on fire, looking down the barrel of a loaded gun. Watch the flames climb higher, glass souls with burning memories, a stone cold gaze, searching for more diamonds in the maze. Has the world gone mad? Another one so we don't feel sad. Always on the run, an outlaw torn with his back to the sun. Light a cigarette and watch as the flames rise to set the world on fire, looking down the barrel of a loaded gun. Watch the flames climb higher, glass souls with burning memories. Set the world on fire, set the world on fire, set the world on fire, set the world on fire. Set the world on fire. Watch the flames climb higher, glass souls with burning memories. So I started college studying music in 2018, and it was the first time I've ever studied like kind of proper music before. So I went and studied down in Greenock, and I met Caleb and Darren in the course, and I had a kind of a little project going at the time, just like nothing too big and too serious. We had a couple of other people in like joining us to kind of just make music basically, and I really wanted to kind of take it further because I thought the guys that we were with were quite decent, especially Caleb and Darren. So we kind of we were with the guys that we were playing with. We didn't really like them that much. They weren't kind of doing doing what we wanted them to do. So I was in a band previous to what I was in with that project, and the drummer Louis, I knew that if I asked him if he would probably join. So I asked Louis if he'd be interested. We all sat in a bar and asked him, we're looking for a drummer.
I wasn't drinking.
Aye.
I was driving. It was literally just after like a rehearsal or something.
Yeah.
We went and talked to him.
Yeah.
I remember we sat down with them and we're like, we're looking for a drummer. He's like, is that right? Aye. We're like, fancy playing drums? He's like, cool. How long for? And we're like, indefinitely. We want you to be an actual drummer. He's like, cool.
That's so funny.
I think he had the initial idea that it was a sort of session thing.
It was temporary for him at the time. He was saying, he's like, I'll help you out, but I don't want to end up in a band like the one with Jamie before. Not because of Jamie, just because of like all the stuff that was going on at the time with it. But then he just kind of got into it and he couldn't escape after that because he's kind of got like a particular style that once they kind of put the blueprint on us, we couldn't kind of lose him, because if we did, we'd have to probably change the name at that point.
Yeah.
And he's the Bordeaux in the name. You know?
So we got him. We got Alex, keyboard player, because I worked with him at the time, and he really
that last piece.
He was the kind of missing piece of the puzzle. So we jammed in the first session that we done. We realised, this is quite fun actually. So within the second session, we had maybe a couple of song ideas done. By the third one, we had like one full song written, and then by that point, we built a set list up, and just continued on from that point onwards. So Louis, the majority of Louis' family's from Bordeaux or that region in France. So when we were kind of deciding on a name, I must have came up with at least 100, maybe 150 shit names.
Definitely close to.
Yeah.
It was 3 days of just names. No talk about music, no talk about anything, just name after name after name, and it was brutal. It was honestly like you get so far into it, you start thinking, there's no chance we're not gonna find a name. Like, because like I got to play where I was going no. She was like, why don't you try it? I'm like, no, because maybe terrible. And I tried, and they were the worst ones, honestly. Like one was like Plagueis and all that. It was spew worthy.
I think there's still a chance for Metro Blue.
Yeah. We need to rebrand.
That's if anything, it's the name of the album.
That could be good.
So, but I remember standing in work at 7 a.m. on a checkout on the phone, just going through names like, okay, this one, then it would get rejected. Okay, I'll go for another one. So eventually I was getting a bit frustrated. I'm like, I don't know what to name it. I'm running out of so many ideas. So something in my head just went, Louis for Bordeaux. What about leaving Bordeaux? And I thought I was taking the piss. I thought, I'm leaving Bordeaux. And everyone was like, there you go, that's the name. That's it. And I'm like, really? And they're like, ah.
To me at the time, it kind of became about like, and what I've kind of noticed since then about other bands is
you didn't even know what's a BORDEAUX?
Oh, I
couldn't even spell it.
Yeah, I can't spell it. And I was like BORDEAUX, but like over time, what you're trying to go for is not a name that sounds good at the start. You look for a name that's neutral, and then as you go on, you make it sound cool. I think that's kind of how you do it, because like no name sounds good right away. You need to have badass music behind it to make the name badass. It's the legend, not just the late name.
What the fuck?
It's just all the nonsense, but you get what I mean.
I think we were a bit fortunate though, because literally just before we went into lockdown, we had a song recorded that we could release for people to listen to, especially when you're stuck in it. It's like, what else you got to do?
I remember we had our first ever headliner, and there was a broadcast, and we sold that out, and we were going to use that to announce the second single, which was Adrenaline. And I remember being on the phone to Louis, and I'm like, that's alright, man, it seems like it's only going to be for a couple of weeks, so we should be okay. If we need to cancel we need to cancel it. So we ended up cancelling it. A couple of weeks later, the lockdown happened. So the ideal philosophy of going, okay, it's only going to be 2 weeks, turned into a year and a half, and it was kind of it was tough at the start, because you start questioning everything. You start going, are we ever going to go back to doing this normally? Because what happened a few weeks ago now wouldn't be deemed as normal. It's you can't do that. You can't get into a room with 5 guys and and just play music. It's all, I know you need to stay here and you need to do that.
It's pretty crazy as well because like you mind like I was back in Dunoon at that point, so like I was all the way across the water and stuff. Like we were all quite far apart, and I think it was like 6 months of absolutely nothing going on until we kind of got.
Oh, well, there was ideas and stuff.
No, but that's what I mean. I felt like it took a really long time. I remember we communicated for that NHS thing for the clap because for how hard they'd worked at the start, and then I felt like I just remember like just not really a lot happening until really like, good few while and we kind of got the skeleton for this time kind of going.
Yeah.
Went into the studio and we kind of put it together after that once the first lockdown eased.
Yeah, because I remember like kind of just sitting and going, well, there's no point in sitting here with a face trap and you going, oh, nothing's going to change because nothing is going to change. So I may as well try and do something positive out of it. So I remember I had an initial idea for a song which doesn't sound anything like what the song became.
Yeah.
And I remember it. So I started sending riff kind of tapes and things out to likes of Darren, Kalo, Bluey, and Alex and things, and we started building. So what we would do, we'd send files back. So then it became quite exciting when you saw that somebody else sent a file back because we're writing, but it's not a conventional sense of sitting down and going, okay, here's the X, Y, and Z. It's like, right, put that into the software there and see, oh, that fit and that. So eventually we came out with a song through lockdown, and that did become this time.
That was our first time doing. We kind of put a song together that way because we've always kind of since the beginning just kind of worked in the studio together. Like all our songs really come together there. It took I can't remember the first time someone brought like quite a structured song idea to the table. It was usually only like a couple of chords or a riff, and we kind of build it from there. So to have like this section come out, like to have sections and construct it that way, I feel like you can kind of notice it with this time because it is.
I think at the time as well, because everybody was on the same page, like all the bands were on the same page, everybody genuinely all across the board. So I think social media at that time became more prominent. It was more a way to try and engage the folk. Because I remember I would just put like kind of shitty little acoustic stuff on the story just for like people to watch and stuff, and then when things kind of eased off, I thought, oh, there's the chance of going in the studio and getting a chance to record. So we did. Yeah. And we thought that was a really positive way to kind of keep going. Even though gigs weren't there, we had the obviously, by the chance of going in the studio and recording, it was kind of, that's a kind of really good light for the past 6 months that we've spent, which was sheer hell.
The last 6 months of last year were some of the most stressful months of our lives because we went. Was it last year, the year before? It's just only 2 years of COVID, but we did this time, and then we're like, right, another single, come on, guys, we're rattling them out. But then that second lockdown hit just as we were about to release our song called Soul as a single. Before we were about to record it, we had to cancel the recording sessions, but that turned into later down the line when the next lockdown was released, we created an EP that included that song. But my goodness, like we had one song we'd written the previous year. We had Soul, which was pretty much there. 2 new songs, and then we added one right at the end, and we writing with so little time at one point because again the lockdowns keep the restrictions kept coming in and kind of messing with us. And I just remember we literally put Are We Dreaming in the last 2 weeks and just wrote it really quickly. We were so hard pressed for time. We recorded all the music, and Jamie was still writing the lyrics for a later date because we just
get it done now before we have
one
to.
One of the tracks was literally. Drown was Louis had the idea, sent it in, and then I sent him something. They took it and stitched it together, and then went into the studio, recorded it without even practicing it.
I know.
Then just recorded
just
it.
Had to learn it.
Oh, but they were at the other end of that, and we're still stressed. It's a good laugh. Nah, I'm looking. It's been a really good time getting the music out and stuff.
This song's called Are We Dreaming?
Chasing a dream,
take the lead. A man on dreaming with a head in the clouds. We'll fight to carry on, all of us. All heroes bleed, he said to me. Ignite these streets, shout out while the city's sleeping, as home grows old and slowly fades away. Are we dreaming with a head in the stars? We'll fight to carry on, all of us. It was when we got the chance. I think I was in. I don't know if I was in work. Or
It was broadcast, remember?
Did you not get sent an email?
Yeah, so I
get broadcast. I remember.
I get sent the email from these producers. Originally, I thought it was just a spam email. So I'm like, very funny, you know. But he sent a follow up as if, just replying to see if you got my previous one. I'm like, all right, this guy seems like he actually wants to work with us. So I just replied back like, oh hi. So I just obviously got in contact with him, and he gave me a phone call, and he started telling me the bands that he's worked with. He's worked at the likes of Glass Caves, Pale Waves, Viola Beach, all these guys, and I thought, wow, that's quite a big pedigree. So we spoke, and he's like, I really want you to come down to Liverpool. If there's a chance, then please come down, because I like your style of music. I like your style of writing. I'd love for you to come down. So I remember we were playing broadcast a couple of days later. So I told the boys, I'm like, we've got a chance to go to Liverpool. What do you think? So everybody was on board with it. So fast forward a couple of months later, we got the song we wanted to write, which just became On Fire, and we took it down. And I remember the Sunday morning going down to Liverpool. I was like a kid at Christmas.
So
like I couldn't sleep the night before. I remember it was actually a 21st the night before. There was a delayed party from lockdown, so it was like a 23rd, but it was a 21st when it was celebrated.
Jamie always gets wrecked before recording. Like every recording session, he's like, it's his time recording. He comes and goes, oh man, I went out last night. Jesus Christ. Where's my guitar? Like every time.
So I remember we all get the gear in the cars and stuff, and Alex's friend Sean. I think I don't know if I made the joke or if he made the joke, but cans were brought up. Somebody brought up like, if I get 6 cans for the trip.
That wasn't even a joke. There was no hesitation.
That was the thing. It was instant. So next thing you know, we're in Iceland buying as much beer as we physically can to take in the car.
Disgusting.
Go down the M8, N74. That's us all the way down to Liverpool. We get steaming by the time we got to Gretna.
Let me cut in there. So there's 2 cars on the go. There's these two, Alex and this guy Sean, who was Alex's roommate, who came with us. In one car, and then the drummer Lou and I were in the other, and we were just, it's like their car was drinking, shouting,
loud
bawling.
music.
Hunters are just heathen behaviour, right? And we were just sitting in the car listening to Change, just chatting, like just having a good time. And I just remember we got to this point where I can't remember exactly when overtaking started happening, but I just remember their car swings up beside you see this guy going like a can of beer, it's just spraying behind them, and it's just like,
that was a good can of Stella as well.
I know, I wasted that can of Stella.
No, I think it's out of date.
Yeah. still scudded for them. But when we eventually actually got into Liverpool, it was good because the next day, obviously, they come down kind of, oh, we're here now, so we need to start thinking about recording. So we ended up going into the studio, met Addy, we met the engineer as well. The studio was outstanding. Like, I've never been in something, never been in somewhere like that in my life. So he set us all up, and we played the way that we heard the song.
Aye.
And the guys like that, no, that's not how we're gonna do it. So you
he didn't quite just say no.
2 tracks and we went through 2 of them and kind of gauged it from there. But one was obviously more complete, and that's what we ended up recording.
Yeah. It's funny we mentioned that. Like, so we had this other song, still in the works right now, and it's just like we're like, nah, we need to add more to it. 'Cause it's quite short, kind of just a in and out quick screamer. But we're like, we need a bit more in it. But we thought we'd send it to them in case they really wanted to do it, because we thought there was something in it. And we went and recorded On Fire, and it turned out amazing. And we came back, and we were just working on that song again last night, and we played it, and we're like, do you know what? Let's just keep it the way it is.
Just keep it the way it is.
Like, but again, like, I don't think a 2-minute song would have worked as a single, but like, it's just funny to be like, nah, it's just perfect the way it is.
Yeah. But the whole the kind of the whole vibe of it was good. To work with people that are a step above on that kind of level. And
it was the first time we'd worked with people, like with a producer as such, who would put, I don't know how the word, but like have a more like kind of.
Because of who we worked with
James McKenzie,
and he's like obviously a producer and engineer at the same time, so it was good to have somebody sitting producing you and then somebody engineering, so it gave me a time for somebody to be like, oh, this could be different in that sort of sense.
Yeah, what James Moore did was kind of like let you do what you want, and he'd point at anything that sounded really honking, whereas these guys kind of had a better idea of like how to achieve what it was. They could see the potential in our song. They could the production and stuff and the parts and how they kind of came together. So they were like the producer Addy was a lot more active on that front. He was always at the keyboard, away and playing notes and stuff.
And it was good again to see the two worlds of, rather than having like just an engineer and producer at the same time, actually seeing a guy who's a sole producer and a guy who's just genuinely a sole engineer.
Yeah.
And the kind of techniques and things that they were doing, it was a great experience. I don't think we stayed sober for the time that we got there. Anyway,
I was pretty much.
I think the only time we were actually sober was when we were in the studio.
I started off sober for my recording, but then not by the end of my recording, but like when I stopped recording, I was like, right, I'm just not gonna be sober the rest of this holiday.
But yeah, we were really proud of the song that we got back, and again, I think you can hear the kind of the development and the way that it is. It's a really really cool thing to kind of be able to go.
Yeah,
we made that happen. We done that, and we went down there, and you know, it is still our style, but it's more of a kind of step forward, which is always
the production's on another level. These guys really they really knew what they were doing at getting production.
Yeah.
The song's also like a bit I don't know the word, like less full on. Usually we have quite a lot of different things going on in this song, but those guys really honed in on like the kind of root of the song and kind of cleaned up the bits a bit more to kind of reach that point where like, you know, the guitars really get like those guitars really, like, what's the word, being noticed, and the vocals are really being noticed. So that was really good as well. Because normally we just play hundreds of stuff and put it all together.
I thought there was something Caleb said like just before we started practicing for it. He's like, you go into most acoustic sets and people like, I don't know what they do, but you're like, keep it melodic. Like, you don't need to go full on with it, just kind of keep it chill and melodic.
Yeah, I've always kind of been a guy that I just love harmony and melody, like just pretty things sound pretty. That's kind of how it was, and like
so the ability to be able to kind of strip some songs back and
yeah,
just play them for the kind of root rather than
it is just different. Like try to look at your songs from an acoustic point of view. Like how can we change these? Because you don't want to just do a one for one, but on acoustic. You want to try and do a bit different. Like we got like the bit that Darren plays at the start of that Are We Dreaming one was it's actually the bass line.
Actually, the bit that Caleb wrote.
Shut up. But I thought it'd be a better idea to do it on the acoustic just because you don't want the bass slamming it. That's not what the bass was needed for in this kind of thing. So I was just trying to figure out what your role should be in that, especially because like I tagged along near the end. Like just I thought it could be a bit more fun.
It's nice. I think having the opportunity to do something like this, it's good because you expand a little bit more. You think acoustically rather than thinking that a full band production. Just again, 1,000,001 pedals, hard vocals and all that, screaming drums and bass. But to kind of be able to do things like this it's a nice feeling. It's good. I think it's so much fun doing it.
I think it's a true test of the songs as well. I remember a long time ago, something Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins said was, a song's good when it passes the acoustic or the piano test. When you can just sing it and play that one instrument. If it sounds good on that, it's deep down in the bones of it. It is a good song. Yeah. So it's good. I like it. I had a great time like playing those like that. It's cool. It's a wee bit different and stuff.
So I've been listening to an American artist called Marcus King, who's quite, like deep blues, southern rock, soul music, and his guitar playing is, I've never seen a guy play guitar like this in my life. Like, I like Chris Stapleton, and I like kind of the Zac Brown band, and he's quite similar to that, but this guy's a cut above. So I've been really, really enjoying his music. Been listening to Sam Fender. I still listen. I listen to some like kind of local bands that we play with as well, like St Clements, Maya Jane, who's outstanding. I love her work. So I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that I'm listening to.
Forgetting the future.
We'll probably get through all.
Yeah, Forgetting the Future as well. I really like their music. They're awesome. So.
Yeah, I've been listening to. I've more or less just been kind of listening to like, or like recently. Was that like a metal band called Mastodon? Who are quite big. It's kind of like them and the Strokes have kind of been my lockdown sort of bands, discovering more stuff coming out, old stuff. The bands I kind of listen about in our scene, it's kind of interesting because like there's kind of been a shift in the scene over like the lockdown. So like some bands have changed, some bands are different. There's a few I've not actually checked in on since the lockdown, but I remember we played with the Ritz and Beefettes back then. They were both the same gig actually, both phenomenal acts. Funnily enough, do you remember that gig with the Ritz? They had a song called 4 AM. It's a song we used to do as well, like different songs with the same name, so it was just really funny at the time. But they were both quite good, I thought. Try to think who else up and coming that we really heard. There used to be a band I quite enjoyed called Two Tone Television, but I think they died off in the lockdown, just, the kind of game that happens. They're probably some of the guys I quite like right now.
For like past month solid, I've listened to his new Chili Peppers album, because I've been waiting years for it. And
yeah.
Like, listen to it 24/7. Try to think of who's that in the scene, because I've not actually been able to keep up with people in the scene.
I know.
Nothing but Thieves.
They really scene.
I'm thinking
they're good though.
Sort of local bands.
I suppose.
Not really been able to keep up with them. That's just parenting duties though.
Aye. This man became a father at some point. I can't remember, was it before lockdown? No, it wasn't. Was it during it?
It's in 2 weeks.
Smack you, mate.
Yeah, we've been booked in to do our first festival, which is BORDEAUX Fest. So we're booked in to do that, which is a good thing for us.
Probably the first time we play outside. Mental.
That'll be fun. We've got that. Probably just looking to kind of maybe travel more down south, a couple of maybe weekend gigs, support slots, maybe we got a couple of tours as well. So
yeah,
that would be something that we're trying to get onto, and I think we've got a couple of things that we're it can make that happen. So we're looking forward to getting that. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, and other than that, it's really just writing. Every time we're not doing something else, it's time to write. So that's pretty much what to look forward to. Just lots more of us, hopefully, in the future.
Yeah.
Gracing your eyes.
This song's called Caught Out Cold.
We want to fall in love today in this modern society, because we can't feel alone. So swipe right with your hand and give a little piece of yourself away, to be ghosted the next day. What a shame. Are we to blame? Cut out cold. Cut out cold. Depressed, suppressed, the story still remains the same. Find ourselves some weekend drugs so we can't feel anything. Drink too much, smoke too much, fuck it all, cause who's the judge? Caught our own reality with an extra-sensual fantasy. Snap out, tap out, for the validation, cry out. Post yourself on media so you can fit criteria. New day, new game, the boredom still remains the same. Feeling so insecure, it's just a useful base game. Cut out cold. Cut out cold.